Welcome to the Car Guys and welcome to an update on the Porsche 911 GT3 Touring. I thought this would be an appropriate time to take you through how I'm feeling about the car day to day, because of course it is one of my daily cars, and I thought also it'd be a good excuse to answer some of your Instagram questions. So without further ado, let's drop a few gears and get on with it. So here I am in the GT3 Touring, as I am pretty much every day. I'm coming up on 12,000 miles now. As you know, my aim is to drive this to well over 100,000 miles, so I'm just over 10% of the way there already. The engine is now loosening up nicely, which means you get quite a lot of unexpected wheel spin, particularly in these cold, damp conditions. Leery tail slides akimbo, just what you want for a car like this. But it does feel a lot more free revving, and I think a little bit noisier too. There's no doubt that this feels every bit a race car for the road. Forget about the touring moniker, it means nothing. Touring is the worst word that Porsche has chosen for a car since they decided to use turbo for the Taycan. So apart from the fact that the car is obviously brilliant, there are two little niggles that I have found with this car using it on a daily basis. Are you ready? Number one, heel and toe gear changing. Porsche has given us a sport button in this car. On the 718 Spider it's a blip button, but on this one it is a sport button. And what that does is it rev matches the car when you change gear, which in theory is obviously a fantastic idea, particularly if you are hopeless at heel and toe gear changing. However, because of the variety of cars that I've got, and because many of them are old and therefore appreciate a little bit of manual heel and toe, I still like to practice it wherever possible. I don't want to have to get in this car and go, oh no, I don't need to do it. I prefer to do it all the time because that's just what naturally comes to me. However, the ECU in this car stops you from manual heel and toe gear changing, even when the sport is off, and that is really annoying. I'll show you what I mean. If I go to do a down change and a heel and toe, what happens is the revs are suppressed at below 3,000, so you just get this muted It doesn't want you to do it. Here we go, I'll do it again. There you go, just didn't fully allow me to do it. Yeah. So you actually get this weird sensation. It stops it, and then sometimes it lets it go a little bit as well. It kind of has this two-stage heel and toe, which is just crap. That does annoy me, I have to say. I like it to be just free revving. I'm coming down the gears, down say into second. I want to blip the throttle up to say 5,000 to match it because I'm really pressing on and I'm braking hard, and it just stops the whole fun. I do not like the fact that this car has got a big brother sensor in it which stops you from doing that. Secondly, and this applies obviously to all Porsche that have got Apple CarPlay, if you listen to podcasts like I do a lot, might be Drive Nation, might be Smith and Sniff, might be Spike's Car Radio. If you haven't heard our appearance on that, please check it out. If you listen to podcasts, you tend to have the volume higher than you do normally. And that's a problem for Apple CarPlay, because when you get in the car cold and you plug in your Apple CarPlay and you turn on the ignition, Apple CarPlay doesn't register for sometimes quite a while, and so you get blasted through the speakers by whatever radio station you're on. It's just a horrible sensation. So there you go, that's two little niggles in an otherwise blemishless driving record with this car, and obviously it is massively outweighed by the fact that it is phenomenally fast, amazing fun at low and high speeds. It's direct, it's everything you want a Porsche GT car to be. Bit of beans? I think so. Ready? Oh, now I will never get tired of that. Okay, so now to answer some of your questions. Do I yearn for a higher spec PTS car? Well, obviously yes, I still have yearnings for that. I would like this car to be different spec than it is, but to be honest, it's not on my mind. I've just got on with enjoying the car. 3 things I wish for the new 992 GT3. Okay, Well, I wish that there was no PDK option. I would prefer it to be pure. I wish it was a lot smaller. And the third thing is, I wish it didn't exist at all. I would prefer if Porsche didn't just repeat every single variant that they come up with. So it'd be nice for them to just actually relax and maybe give the Touring badge a rest for the 992.1. But I don't expect them to do that because they're too busy making loads of cars. Is this the best car in the world? Well, it's certainly up there. If you were thinking about all-time greats, if you were thinking about cars that you want to drive forever, this is in most car and Porsche fans' top fives. In fact, on the Drive Nation podcast, both Andrew and Dan narrowed down their top 5 garages of all time to this car. So Drive Nation guys, you were right. Are you going to trade this for the new 992? No, definitely not. I'm not sure if I'm going to get one of those new 992s. I don't think I'm going to be offered one of those new 992 GT3s. I seem to be in a bit of a limbo when it comes to Porsche and allocations, but I'm not planning to get one. I'm planning for this to be the only Touring that I ever have. Was it worth the markup? Now bear in mind, viewers, that this car cost me, I think, £205,000, which was something like, I don't know, 50 grand odd more than it should have done, maybe more. Was it worth the markup? Well, yes, because obviously I've got one and they are highly prized. People do rate them, and I've been able to enjoy it for quite a while since. So I guess in some ways, yes, it is worth it. GT3 Touring or Speedster? I think the GT3 Touring. I think the hardtop is the more pure car. I think it's the better drive, and I'm not sure if I fully understand having a GT3 convertible. Is the premium for a Touring worth it over the standard GT3? Now bear in mind that there are gazillions of GT3s. In the latter parts of the 991.2 GT3's life, 40% of the production of 911s was GT3s, so there are a lot of them around. Now the premium, I think, stands at somewhere around about 30 to 40,000 pounds for a Touring over a GT3, and to be honest, I think it is I think it is worth the premium because the Touring is a very special car. Now that might be ludicrous for me to say that, and obviously I would say that since I actually did pay the premium and I've got one, but I think there is something special about this car that goes further than just having the wing removed. Would you ever wrap it? Do you know what? No, I wouldn't. I've only had one experience with wrapping and it wasn't pleasurable. So no, I wouldn't wrap it, and I don't think I would liquid wrap it either, despite the fact I've seen that and it does actually look just like real paint. But I think I've got the car. I think I'm going to stick with it. Would the Turbo S be a better daily? Yeah, it probably would actually. The Turbo S is more comfortable, it's faster, it's got a lot more low down torque, so it's more tractable, more usable as a daily car, absolutely. But I've never been that sensible when it comes to daily cars. I mean, bear in mind, I used to daily a 996 GT3 and everyone said I was crazy to do that. How much is it to service? Well, I have actually just had the first service, so it cost me this much. Is it better than a Ferrari 488 GTB? Well, to me, yes it is. It's not as fast, but it is a lot more involving. There's a lot more winky physics going on in this car than you will ever get in a 488. A 488 is a fantastic car, but exciting, I'm not sure I would say it is. Does the GT3 Touring get much attention? Do you know what? No, not at all. Not even a second glance. Only the very nerdiest of car nerds know what this car is, and will therefore, at most, you will get this. That's it. That's all you get. Are you going to change the dials? Well, I mentioned this in my 15 hours in a GT3 video. I actually don't think I am now. They really annoyed me when I first picked it up, but now I've got used to them, and actually, since the entire car is black, and I admit that is quite gothic and quite foreboding, I quite like that stealthiness about it, and the red dials is the only real splash of colour on it apart from the brake calipers. Is it possible to use this car as a daily? Yes it is. I'm doing it right now. Would you swap it for a 911R? Oh, that's a really good question. I'm not sure I would. I think I'd probably have both. Its inputs are softer, more delicate, and so it is more suited as a driving car on, say, British roads, but it is a limited edition car. I think you would worry a lot more about the value of that car if you piled the miles on. So I think you'd always have to have it in addition to one of these. Would you unquestionably have this or a PDK GT3? Unquestionably this. This is quite a good one whilst we're waiting for this Audi to turn right. Would you sell this car if someone offered you exactly the same amount you paid for it? I.e., could I get out of the fact that it's depreciated now and worth a lot less? Do you know what? No. If you offered me £205,000 for this car now, I still wouldn't take it. Is this car for life? Yes, I think it is. I intend to do 100,000 miles in this car. I intend to drive it everywhere. I'm hoping to take it on a tour across Germany next year. I'm hoping to have many, many adventures in this, and of course I've not even taken it on track yet, so we need to do some track miles in this car too. And I have no intention of selling it, and I know that lots of people on YouTube like to say that. There are many people that say this car is for life and then they sell it after 6 months or a year, but I think you know me and I think you know the channel better than that, and when we say things we mean it. What's your best memory of this car? That's a great question. There have been quite a few, but I actually think my best memory of this car is at the start of the day when I took this car to Wales in my 15 hours in a GT3 Touring episode. I had to get up at 4 in the morning to drive to Wales. I was in this, there was a light mist across the fields, the roads were entirely empty, and I had probably one of the greatest drives in the UK of my life that morning. 3.5 hours all the way through Dorset and Wiltshire and up into Wales in this car with no traffic on the roads whatsoever. Beautiful sunlight just coming up. Yeah, I think that's probably my best memory so far in this car. It was just fantastic. So there you go, that's an update on my GT3 Touring. Quick version. I still love it. It's loosening up nicely, the tyres are wearing down, so I'm getting lots of lovely Larry power slides out of it. It still feels as tight as ever, the temperatures don't move in the car, it's perfectly reliable, it's had its first service, and I am still absolutely loving it. Thanks for watching this episode. I hope you enjoy the Car Guys. Please subscribe, leave comments and likes, and there'll be another Car Guys episode along next week.